Hi there, my name is Jamie Keat and welcome to Teachers Tech, where I explore technology weekly. And this week I'm exploring iMovie on your Mac. I want to go through from start to finish to show you all the different great things you can do with iMovie and how to upload it to where you want to, whether it be to your computer or maybe to YouTube. It's a great product to use and all free on your Mac. Remember, I do these weekly tech tips, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel and hit that little notification beside subscribe so you get notified when my new videos come out. Let's take a look at iMovie on Mac. I'm going to go ahead and open up iMovie. I have it on my taskbar. You can place it there or just look into your app launcher, Launchpad, and you'll also find it there if you haven't used it before. So once it opens up iMovie, what generally happens is you'll notice that it's broken into three parts. We have our media, our projects, and our theater. So with our media, this is where you can categorize all your different media into different almost like folders or structures. You can easily find it or import it into different projects. So down on the side, you can see I have one place in my, if I look in my iMovie library, the green, this is a audio track, and then I have some video here, and I also have an image. You can see right here the little camera on it to represent an image. Those are the three types that you're going to bring into your libraries, would be your video, your audio, or your images. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new category just to show you how easy it is to bring in assets. So I'm going to right click and create a new event. I'm going to call this one cities. So with cities, you notice I can import my media right through here by clicking on media, and it opens up, and I know I have some on my desktop here. So I'm going to scroll down, and I have video clips, and I have these ones about cities, and I'm going to I can select one at a time. If I hold down Shift, I can select multiple ones and import it like so. And you can see the different two are added to cities here. The other way you can do it, if you have your Finder open, I have my video clips right here. I can drag different information, different media right into it. So if I go over to cities, I'm just going to open this up, and I know these two here I haven't brought in yet. I can just drag them right in, and I can do that with all my different information. So I can do this with my my images that I have. I have some city pics. I'm going to drag it in here, and I'm also going to drag in my a little bit of music here too. So these are the three different things. I'm not sure which one I'm dragging in, but here we go. So you can see how it's green. Very easy to delete any of this stuff. So you can just right click on it again, and you can see you can delete the event also. Moving over to the different ones here at the end with theater, this is where your final projects, after you save them, you'll be able to see the end results here, and this is where you can share them. You'll see a little bit, you can play them from here, or you get a little bit more information where you can play, rename, delete, remove from the iCloud, or go to project. So these can go to your other devices if you're all connected. If they're getting saved in the cloud, you could open up a mobile device and see that too. Your projects, in this case, I only have the one project, the beach one here. You can play, this is where you go back into your project to keep working on it. So if you need to edit it, once it's saved, go back and it's there for you. So if I hit projects back up in the top left-hand corner, it brings it back here. If I hover over this, you'll notice I have some different settings I can play with. I can play the movie here. I can open the project from here. I can share, and I'll talk more specifically at the end of this about sharing this to different places. And you can rename the project, make a duplicate, or delete the project here also. So that goes through the three tabs. So the next step is how to create a new project from iMovie. So now it's time to start our project. Let's go over to create new, and I'm just going to click on it, and right away you get two choices. You're either going to be able to create a movie or create a trailer. This tutorial is about creating a movie from scratch and dragging in all the media. The trailer is a very fun option to create some movies, and I'm just going to show you real quickly. You can pick a different category. Let's say we wanted an adventure theme, and what it does for you is all you have to do is click on the information and fill it in. When we get to our storyboard, it even tells you what type of shots. Here, a landscape shot, and you go get that shot and just drag it in into the correct spot. You can see from action, and you just go through and it creates a very fun, can add audio very quickly. People really love it. Kids really love it, especially in classes. So I'm just going to go back to projects here. I'll just hit OK. And I'm going to create my movie from scratch because I want to be able to show you how everything is set up in the movie. I already dragged some images and video and audio in from the previous part of the video. You can see where I have cities here located. These are the different things I drug in, and all you have to do to add them to your timeline, so your timelines down here, is just drag and drop. So I can take some of this footage. So if I take this one and I can just drag it down below, and this is my main clip. Each of these are going to become these rectangular clips. I'll just add another one. You can see the video. I'll put it here. And maybe I want some audio to it. And as I mentioned, the green is the audio. I just drag it below, and that's where the audio tracks go. And I also have an image. So I'm going to drag this onto a top like this. The other thing, you notice how you can't see everything right away. Well, this right over here with settings, I can drag this, and so I can make things smaller, so I can work with things different ways. So sometimes I'll zoom it out so I can see more, but sometimes I zoom it all the way in because I might have to do some detailed cuts, and I want to be very specific on the part of the video I'm on. So once I have a few different things brought into my timeline, there's another way I want to show you that you can bring things in. So I'm just going to change my settings and just go to my video clips here. I can go through here, and let's say if I take this general public one, and I'm just going to drag it over here. It's the same video that I had before, but now you can see it's in. So if I want any of these gone too, I can just click on it. You notice you have different options where you can cut. I'm just going to hit delete on my computer, on my keyboard. So just drag things over from your folders works perfectly fine too. So it's easy to get all your media in. Once you start dragging everything into your timeline, if you go click onto the top, so depending on what you have this named, everything you use is inside here. So I could click on these individually, and I can drag over, and you can see I'm dragging that orange line, and I can see right on the side, I can see in the little clip what's happening. But this is the preview panel over here. I can hit my play where I could watch the video. If I wanted it larger, this is the to increase it. I can watch it at full, or I could bring it back to regular size here so I can see everything. So we have our media panel, we have our preview panel, and this is the timeline where I'm just dragging in the different media clips in the order and the places that I want them to. A few other things you can bring into here. So I'm under My Media. You can also check with audio. If you have different things in iTunes, this is all connected through there. You can go to your sound effects. You'll get some different sound effects that you can add if you were looking to make some things more interesting. Plus GarageBand, if you're into creating your own music and you have different things on GarageBand on your Mac. I don't have any on here, but you could simply just drag these things. Remember, when you go back to My Media, anything you drag into the timeline will show here. To preview this also, you notice as I hover over, and this is what I like to do, is drag my mouse around. So I'll make add edits, and I'll drag different things around so I can quickly see what's happening in the video. So I could click and notice that there's a gray line. That's kind of the starting point. If I hit my space bar, it would start from there, and I can stop it again by hitting my space bar. But it's really simply just to kind of see things in a hurry. So you make an edit and you don't want to see things at regular speed, just drag back and forth to see how things look once you have it in. So that gives you an idea about the setup and the layout and how to bring all your media in. Let's get into some editing now. Before we start doing any major editing, it's important to know how your tracks work. These top two tracks where you see the blue, we have our images and videos. These are video tracks. Down below where there's green, this is where the audio tracks are. I can place other audio tracks down below, and I believe there's one more even to put down. I can move this just slightly down like this. So I can put different audio tracks and different videos in different places. To move different things around, just simply click on any of it and drag it left or right in the timeline, and it will simply be placed there. As you can see in this video, I move it around and the audio is underneath in this blue, and that can be moved around with it. But we can also detach the audio from any video. Now this works handy if you want to be able to maybe lower the audio in the video or delete it right away. But we can also right click on it and detach the audio. When I do this, you'll notice that the audio is down here for this video and it's no longer in here. At any time, remember, you can always go back with your edit undo. You can go back up here, edit undo, or you can hit the Control Z to do the shortcut. And get used to knowing the different shortcuts. Take a look at the menu. It will save you a bit of time. So the other thing that you can do to adjust the audio in any of these is just drag this line. As you drag it, you can see the percentages, how you change it, and it will change how loud that the audio comes across. The same thing with these ones, with these tracks, you can drag them all around like this. The other thing to make note is that in your main track across the middle, the different audios or pictures will connect, and as you move, you just won't move one, you'll move as a group. For instance, you can see how this green is connecting to this first video clip here. I can drag, when I drag it, they move together. For instance, if I bring this one over, now this blue line attaches to it, all three of them, so when I move them, they move as a group over. I can simply move any of these to change the order. Now this one is connected to there. So just a little bit about moving and understand how the audio works in these ones before we get into our some of the other editing we have. All right, let's take a look at how to edit here, starting with how to change time duration of different video clips or images. Now, in this first picture, if I hover over, and this is just an image, you can see how it, when they put different pictures in, it always gives it that key burns effect, which is that slight movement. You can see the length of this right now is 2.7 seconds. If I just drag a clip, and now I don't have to worry about, since this is a still image, I can just drag it, and you can see how it increases, and then right now it's at 5.5 seconds. So with a still, it's very easy to drag it longer if you need, or shorter, since there's no movement in it. If I take a video clip like this one, I can go to the end and drag it, and I can make it shorter. You can see how the time duration is changing, but now I've actually taken out some of that video. You could always go backwards if you made a mistake. Remember, if you hit your Command Z, it puts it back. Now, if I wanted to change, and I'm going to right click on it this time, the duration, you can change how fast you want your clip to be. Simply just go to Show Speed Editor. Now you get this black line, you can just simply drag it, and notice that as I'm dragging it to the left, a rabbit appeared because I'm making it faster. So I can decrease the time, but I'm not taking away any footage. So I'm speeding everything up. On the other way, if I drag it larger, when I get past the middle point, it turns to a turtle because now all the video is there, but I'm slowing it down. So very easy to add the effect without cutting anything out of it to speed things up or slow it down. When you go down into into the main track here, some options here that you can have are to right click. If you wanted to split on a clip, you just can simply split it like so, and you didn't lose any footage, it just put a cut. So maybe you want to move this to somewhere else, but simply just make that split, and you can add different things in between, a transition, or delete the other part to continue your editing. If you wanted to duplicate something really easily, just click on what you want to duplicate. So let's say I click on this one, hit your Command C for copy, and then bring your pointer to wherever you'd like, and then hit Command V, and it'll put it in. Remember, Command X is your cut if you're using that too. All of these can be seen if you're looking for the shortcuts. Take a look in your menu again and just see all the different shortcuts that are beside each. One way to cut a chunk out of the middle, if you hold your R down, you can see that you'll get this icon that pops up. It allows you to select a certain portion in between. Now at that point, you can hit your delete and it will take away that part of it that you've selected on it. So if you're looking at just trying to take a part away from the middle, try that part, hold down R. Now you can open up, you can double click on these, and you can do some precision editor. You can bring back different parts. If I wanted to go through here, and you can see how it's keeping to show the before and after, and you can change these the way you want by moving the heads and just hit return at the end for some editing. So those are just some of the basic editing features that you're going to find work really easily to trim, cut, copy the different parts of it. Let's take a look at a few other things now. Transitions are a great way to add a little bit more wow to your video. So one way you can do it, if we have an image, and you can see how I have my main tracks here, and I have in between that space where it just in between it has the image and it just goes back and forth. Any image, and you can do this to audio too, if you grab the corners and I bring it in, and I can adjust how, depending on where I want it to go. Maybe I'll bring this one more to the center. But now, as I hover across, look at the transition that I quickly added from the image that I had before. I can do the same thing with audio. Let's say I'm just going to split this clip right here, and I'm going to delete this part. Let's say I had my audio here in between. I can bring the same thing. I can make sure I grab the corners, bring them in to adjust them with that fade away on each side if you wanted to use a transition like that. Now, in between, you have to use a different type of transitions. If you look at the top, right here, if I click on it, you have all these transitions that you can drag in between each main clip. So if I wanted to add a doorway, I'll just drag that down. I can put this at the very front wherever I see, or I'll put one in between so we can see it a little bit more clearly. As I hover over, you can see the effect. If I don't like that, I can simply add in another one just by dropping over, and now you can see I have the mosaic one here. So it's very easy to add these transitions and change them. You can adjust them a bit more if you just double click. When it opens up, you can see how long each one will be. So maybe I wanted it to be 2 seconds, I can hit apply, or if I wanted the same on every one, I could hit apply to all. Remember, when you do adjust the different times, it can affect the clip that you've put in because you're stretching out over top of it through the transition. But you can see here now is my 2-second transition in between. So very easy to use either through the clips, through audio or the pictures, or go up to transitions and just drop them in between. To make things look even more professional in iMovie, select a clip, and for this case, I'll select one in my main timeline. Look above the preview panel and you have a lot more options you can do to adjust things. I can pick this first one where I can adjust, we'll say match a color. So if I pick match a color, what's asking me to do is go to a clip, maybe where similar colors, and click on it. And if I like what it does to it, you won't see very much of a change in these ones. I can apply it to this. At any time, I can hit the reset here to bring it back to normal. I can go through and do a few different things from white balance to skin tone balance, but that's something you can play around with depending on what clip you use. I can also adjust the different colors and brightness inside of these. Let's playing with this a bit to add some effects to it this way. I can reset it back to normal, as I said before too. Going across, cropping, you might want to focus on something more specifically. Maybe you want to crop to fill. You can quickly bring in the handles to somewhere, hit return, and you have a different focus on this. Remember, at all times you can reset all to bring it back to the original one too. This is for for stabilizing shaky video, and this is for volume levels. Maybe you want to adjust the different volume levels in the video. When I click on an audio track in a moment, you'll see which ones pop up for this, because it's different if it's the main track, the audio, or the above video track. This one is for some reduced background noise, which could come in handy if you were videotaping something and you just want to make sure you make it a little bit more clear to hear. We have some speed alterations from here, from normal, slow to fast to custom. And then on this one, we have more, we can add a few more effects. If you click on here, and then let's see the clip filter effect here, and you can add these different filters through here as it plays. And you can just add them again. You can always go back. I'm just going to cancel down here. And lastly, if I click on this one, it just gives me some information about it. Now, what I like is if I click on outside of the main track, I get one more option. So I won't go through all these again, but now I have this option here. And what I can do with this one, I can, if I drop down here, you can see where it says green blue screen, the background's going to disappear where all that blue. So if you were working with a green screen, you can see how easy it would be to take away. As I scroll over, you can see that the buildings are still there, but the background's coming through on the other video. Some of these other options are quite cool too. If you wanted to have a split screen, you could work with it that way on it. And then lastly, you have picture in picture. So you can add this and you can move it around and adjust it so that you can have that little picture in picture. So very easily to add, just go up to you can't do this in the main one, but just in these top ones, add these different effects here. Down below, when I click on an audio, you can see which ones you can't do anything to, but you can have a few more. You have your adjustments here, and the same thing through your different types of equalizer. You can choose the different things to make the audio the way you wish. You have your speed, and then you have more sound effects. If I click in here, the audio effects, you can add more of these to it too. So let's go through and look at a couple of things with the titles and backgrounds that you can add in iMovie. To add titles to your video or presentation or however you're using it, just simply go up across the top here to the tabs to where you see titles. Now you can click on each one to get an idea of what it's going to look like. So, and you can drag across it to see if there's any movement. So for instance, these scrolling credits, if you wanted credits, you could drag this to at the end of it and then fill in, and I'll show you how to fill in a second. So let's say if I take this one and I wanted to just drag it over here, and I'm going to put it right on top of this. I know it might not be the right place for this, but I'm going to drag it longer. You can see it's 4 seconds now. I can grab the edge of this and drag it to a different time. So now it's 6.5. If you want to edit this, make sure it's selected and then go up above the preview panel where we were before editing. Now you have the letter T here. So when that's selected, I can type something in. So if I say hello world, whoops, I'll just click, I don't want to delete it, and I can adjust the color. Maybe I'll pick this, and I'll just leave it as that. You can take a look, I can bold it, and I have a few different options. I can choose some different fonts and size. I'm just gonna hit the check mark here. I'm gonna close this down. So now if I hit play, you can see I have this title across. So very easy to input your titles. Just go through and scroll, and then you just add them to wherever you want. The other thing is to take a look at are some backgrounds. If you wanted some backgrounds custom that they have here, like the curtain, you can see there's some movement to it. Just simply grab any of these and drag them down, and you can add them to make your presentation just a little bit more interesting or have some fun with it. So let's take a look now at how do we get this project saved and how do we put it to YouTube or a different social media. So let's say you're all done your presentation and you want to save it or share it. Well, just simply go up to the top right hand corner up here, click on it, and you see the options. So let's look at the option, and I'm not going to go over every one, but let's look at YouTube. If you have a YouTube account and you want to go directly to it, this is where you make your settings. And for myself, when I do it, I always want to upload my stuff to YouTube at 1080p, which is 1920 by 1080. So I would select that, and I'll select a category. A lot of times it's education. And then I choose private, because what I do after that is I go through and adjust and add my description and different things in YouTube. So I keep it private until I go back in my YouTube channel, but this will upload it right to it. You can see that this is going to add it to the theater, what I showed you at the beginning, and would connect it in your iCloud also. So at this point, I would just hit next, and it would ask me to log into my YouTube account, and you'll log in, and then it's going to process it and then upload it to YouTube. The other thing you can do, I'm just going to hit cancel, is save it right to your computer. So just simply go to File. You can go through the options again, whether you want it at 720p or 1080p, and then just go ahead and hit next and pick where you want to save it and hit save. I'm going to just replace this. And what you can do to take some time for this to be processed, you just go in the top right hand corner, see this circle. This shows the activity. You can see it moving. When that completes around the circle, you know it's done. So it'll be saved on wherever you selected. So I hope you liked this tutorial today of iMovie on your Mac. I know for me, it's a program that's very quick to use, and if you use Mac, it's free to use, and I think it's a great option to have. So remember, if you thought this was good, please share this with a few other people. Hit that like button. Take a look at my cards up top to see if I have different playlists that might connect to something that you like or different offers, or in the description down below. Thanks for watching this week. I'll see you next time.